Hey, it's Empress Rose. Welcome to our collective reading. Thank you so much for joining me here. Take what works, leave what doesn't, and any interaction with the channel is fabulous and helpful. So we're going to start with Work Your Light Oracle deck. Okay. Oh my gosh. We got these last week, the week before. This is nuts. Okay. We have mirror. Who or what is triggering you? So seeing something that, it was the you spot it, you got it idea. It was seeing a reflection of yourself in the world around you. Ideas of projection, ideas of being upset by something, but it's actually something that maybe a trait that you have, that you're seeing in someone else, that you're finding upsetting or annoying. I think that triggers are very useful. Like sometimes we don't know, oddly, we don't know much about ourselves. Like we don't know what we need to improve, and other people can be very unreliable reflectors of that, because they want us to improve in ways that make their life easier, not necessarily on our personal path. So it's something to take under advisement and to think about, but you can't just change for every request. So this, though, sometimes it can be hard to know ways in which we need to grow and the direction in which our best growth is. And sometimes triggers can be little pointers along the way to be like, hey, why is this upsetting you so much? Or why are you feeling this way? And maybe it's not wrong to feel that way, but it's just like, this is hitting something. This is hitting a nerve. Now, why is that nerve raw? And maybe that nerve is supposed to be raw. Maybe you are meant to be frustrated or triggered by something or upset by something going on around you or in your world. And that's totally valid. But it can be like these pointers of where our best growth is. Let's see what these other cards say so we can see, Council of Light, Divine Orchestration, Helpers in the Subtler Realms. And then also Star Mother, how you can mother yourself. So maybe this is just being upset, seeing something. But it's mirror. It's like something that's reflecting you back to you. It's not just being upset about something. There's a seeing yourself. And so with this mother card, so your mother, had to be your mother. You had to get here somehow. So whether she was super into being the world's best mother, knew how to be the world's best mother, what culture she was born into, the expectations of that culture, how much she wanted to fulfill those expectations. Your mother's just a human being who had a baby and was a way for you to come into the world, right? So we have this wide variety of mothers and a wide variety of mothers that were well suited to us. Some mothers, so there's a lot going on there, but your ideal mother, this to me is like, if you are upset, how best could you mother yourself? How best, and we'll take the ideal from that, the ideal mother of nurturing you, comforting you. It seems like you're upset about something and there's a lot of comfort here. One of your sources of comfort needs to be yourself in this situation. So it's like you're both upsetting yourself, or you're upset with yourself, and you're also comforting yourself. And you're nurturing yourself. And also helping yourself grow, helping yourself be your best self. You may see something this week in yourself that you don't like, that you don't particularly care for. And I think mothering yourself is, caring and loving and gently guiding your own self through some self-reflection that may be uncomfortable. So that self-reflection, shame can come in with self-reflection, especially with something like this. But shame is a very useless emotion unless someone else is trying to manipulate you. It's it actually prevents your growth. It prevents you from wanting to look at your own life and your own stuff, and because you were so afraid of feeling that shame. So oftentimes we don't do the introspection that's most useful. We don't do that because we're terrified of being triggered by this shame in ourselves and this, well, what if I'm not the person I thought I was? And so, and then that will trigger shame. So then I don't even want to look at that. So if we can have that unconditional love for ourselves, then that will be a lot better. And that's what I think the Star Mother is like, being so gentle and kind and loving with yourself as you do some kind of self-reflection and introspection. This could be about your relationship with your mother. This could be about your relationship with a child that you have, and seeing yourself in that child, or seeing yourself in your mother and needing to do some I'm not even seeing forgiveness. I'm just seeing nurturing yourself through this and guiding yourself, and maybe in a way that you didn't get to experience, which is also kind of strange, to develop this whole new way of interacting with yourself that maybe you didn't get to experience. So taking care of yourself, especially in moments of more challenging self-reflection, that groundwork of self-love and unconditional self-love is going to help you be able to do the self-reflection more honestly and with more clarity. And then we have Council of Light, divine orchestration, helpers in the subtler realms. So there could be spiritual guidance that you could look to for this self-reflection. This seems just a lot of self-reflection. It could be around motherhood, but this spiritual guidance, I would be maybe looking to some books, looking to some expertise, maybe looking to spiritual guides that you have, that you've resonated with, and I also think that there might be somebody else, like in the physical realm, that is here to help you through some sort of self-reflection and help you really understand yourself better or care for you. So it's not just self-care. There's others are caring for you during a difficult time of self-realization or being upset by something. There are people helping you. And this is like, yeah, I'm like, wait, what is triggering you that we need to talk so much about self-love and about other people helping you and about guides helping you and spiritual teachers that you can turn to, Ram Dass, Thich Nhat Hanh, those are some of my favorites, to guide you through this self-reflection. This is fascinating. All right, well, so far we've got, you might get upset by something, take care of yourself. Take care of yourself and reach out, even through prayer. But divine orchestration, you're like meant to have this happen right now. This is part of your path. So yeah, if you are like in a hard spot or are feeling upset by your own self, it's meant to be here. This is meant to be here right now. Something like Spirit is intentionally bringing something to your attention right now for you to deal with right now, something about yourself. It's very challenging, but that's where the Star Mother comes in. All is connected. So when I'm reading these cards and then this card comes in, what I'm thinking about, well, we have Anansi, the spider, right? This is a spider web, the storyteller. And then these leaves are coming into me as little endings all over the place. And the stories we tell ourselves about our past, about what we've been through. And it's all connected. So when we tweak one thing about our story, right, the idea that we were a victim, which literally we may have been, and then tweaking that to being, I'm a survivor, one of those makes you feel sad, I think, and one of them makes you feel strong and capable. So just a small tweak like that is something that we're looking at. How we talk about our past, how we talk about our endings, how we talk about things that's happened to us, the words we use and the way we frame that, just a small tweak can change a lot of different things. So with Anansi here, it seems like the storyteller, and then this this small tweak to the stories we're telling ourselves. And it has something to do with where you're at right now, that may come into play, where you may need to make a small tweak and a more caring tweak, a more self-loving tweak to the stories you're telling yourself. But it has to do with the moment you're living right now. So it has to deal with that and shifting the dynamic there. So, I'm always, I'm always the one that's dumped, never the dumper. I'm just spitballing here. Like, I'm always the one that's dumped. Could be translated to, like, the people not meant to be in my life remove themselves by themselves. I don't have to do anything. They remove themselves. Just something like that. Like, tweaking how we interpret what's happened to us, some sort of upsetting event, in a much more loving way that allows us to live our present moment differently, because it's all connected. So those stories you're telling yourself are affecting your present moment. So thinking about that. And then weaving flowers. What's interesting too is that we've got the concept of weaving in both of these. You can't see the threads connecting all of these leaves here. The spider web silk connecting these leaves, and she's just pulling on one little part of the thread of the, like, I want to say the tapestry. You pull on one little part of the tapestry and the rest of it has to shift to accommodate that. And so that's what it means by all is connected in one little tweak. So we're not talking a major overhaul here either, is what I'm getting. What I'm getting is a small little tweak. It may be challenging to see in yourself, but it's very important to do that self-reflection. And then weaving flowers, so following your intuition. And so these flowers are all also, the petals are all attached to silk threads, which you also can't see on the camera. So it's all attached. There's so many silk threads and so much about weaving. And then here we have the past, the endings, really beautiful endings. Fall's my favorite season, so the ending, it's so beautiful. So those endings are so beautiful. But then here come the petals, the spring coming in, also attached to all of these silk threads of thought and the sense making and the meaning making we do in our own lives, to take these events and make meaning out of them and make them make sense, make all this sort of random stuff make sense. So you are intuitively making this random stuff make sense. These things that are incoming. So there's two seasons here for sure. There's the fall, there's the letting go, and then there's accepting new things into your life and new ideas and weaving them together in a very intuitive way. Like, she can't see what she's doing. She's just intuitively moving her hands and moving this stuff around, and weaving and knitting these thoughts together in a spring renewal sense. I've never seen these two cards, like, I've never connected them together, when they come out. They've never come out together that I know of, or that I can remember. So just the weaving, and then just maybe even this is the unweaving of this past and just unraveling something. And it's very intuitive. And I think that that's part of this divine orchestration. You're doing something very intuitively now. So there's no completion in either of these cards. It's a process that you're involved in of letting something go and bringing something together at the same time through the same method, I want to say. And it's a divine timing. Now is the time to be doing this. And I love the weaving of flowers. It's just so, the letting go and then the accepting in the new, the renewal, the spring, and weaving something together that way. It's really beautiful. Okay, so for a totally different vibe, we're going to Tiger Breathing Bears deck. It makes me so happy. It takes me out of my comfort zone completely, which sometimes I like and sometimes I don't. So from the bottom of the deck, 5 of arrows. This is usually a competition in which nobody wins. Difficult choices are needed to be made. But what I'm seeing here today with how he's drawn this is there's a lot of words. There's been like an argument or something. And there's been a lot of words. This tornado has come through. And the tornado I'm seeing as communication and ideas. This tornado's come through. It's torn up a lot of things. It's uprooted things. But what it hasn't uprooted is where these arrows landed. They came in. So words were spoken that grounded, that like hit the ground. Like these words were spoken and they went in. They went deep. They cut. They pierced. Even in sort of like the whirling, it's so like, yeah, there was, it basically looks like an argument to me where, you know, in a way, sometimes in arguments, things go round and round and round and round. And you said that. No, I didn't. I said this. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. And you said that, but that's not what I meant. But that's what you said. But that's not what I meant. But that's what you said. And it just, this tornado, but then in this, all of this like ethereal sort of nonsensical movement of words that maybe didn't do anything, but through that process, some of the things that were said landed. So in some ways that's a little unfair or strange because it's like, well, everybody was saying a bunch of things. Why did that one land and ground and make such a huge difference? You know, we were just kind of, and it could have even been brainstorming something or just coming up with ideas and brainstorming something, but several pierced through. So, and then the traditional meaning of Five of Arrows is like a conflict in which nobody wins. Like if there's victory, it's a Pyrrhic victory, but stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like you gotta defend yourself. You gotta, you know, speak your truth. If someone else is speaking their truth or whatever is going on, maybe they are speaking their truth. You have to defend yourself. But in that process, it didn't go well. Like it's something, no, the arrows hit their mark. That's the strange thing too, is like, maybe in all this chaos, someone took advantage during an argument to actually state something very clearly and make it land. So I wouldn't necessarily be dismissing everything that was said during a conversation as, you know, just an argument or just everybody saying stuff, you know. I think there's something here where something actually was pretty pointed and true. And someone maybe took advantage of some chaotic situation to do that. But that's something that's already happened. You know, and we don't really know what arena that is. Is that family? Is that friends? Is that work? But it's something, it's a competition where there were no winners and difficult decisions had to be made and no one was going to come out on top anyway. So, you know, it's the lose-lose situation here. Past, present, inner landscape, what's at issue, environment, to-do list, possible outcome. The deck is so funny. Okay. Damn. Okay, in the recent past, we have the Magician. So, what's interesting is this Magician's shadow here is this monster. So, that's sitting right next to it. It's shadowing it. The Magician is, you know, the idea man. And here I've got all these ideas. I've got this great, it's the idea man, it's the initiative. But we don't know if this person, is it you, is it somebody else? We don't know if they have what it takes. It's still pretty early on in the process. Are they hiding something, right? Because here they've got a pretty deep shadow here, pretty strong shadow self that's sort of following them around that they haven't necessarily dealt with, right? So this could be you, you know, having all these ambitions, having all these plans, but having this shadow in your past that's sort of following you around, lurking. The Magician has sort of a game plan, though. So maybe you've come up with a plan for something in your life. I'm going to call it you simply because the Mirror card is out here and the Triggered card, and it just seems like the presented self and the hidden self. And maybe sometimes the self is hidden from you, right? So, like, I'm a terrible liar, except if I've lied to myself first. And then I'm a very good liar because I believe it. I believe the story. I believe what's happening, and I don't perceive myself as lying. So, you know, and that's also where the truth gets a little murky, and we don't need to be that hardcore about things. But with the Mirror card here, yeah, this Magician has a darker shadow. So I think the Magician it's really difficult to tell. Does this one, like, he's got trophies, he's got victory rings, he's got some victory under his belt. He's looking at how do we create, I think, another victory or another win here. How do we create that? He's looking to ground down some kind of vision and plan, and has gathered the resources, knows what they're doing to some extent, but they're just, with this card in particular, there's just something in the shadows. And this person is smoking a cigar. So if this isn't you, this could be someone who does smoke a cigar. That seems important. The cigar seems important. Freud would agree. The cigar seems important. What is going on here? So once upon a magician, this person may have created an illusion about themselves. Like, I don't want to get into this idea. I want to be really careful to talk about, you know, like, did you create an illusion around yourself? Because then that almost seems to trigger, like, you know, imposter syndrome or something like that. Like, oh, it's just smoke and mirrors. Like, in a way, all adulting is just smoke and mirrors, and we're just children who learned how to do smoke and mirrors for each other. And so this Magician is successful at the smoke and mirrors, but also creating. It also does have a plan, and also does have some real world wins behind them. So, and it's a leadership position, it's an instigator position, it's a creative leadership position. And then in the current situation, we have the Monster. The Monster is learning how to control itself. It's learning how, and see, it's the shadow of this one. So maybe there has been an element of smoke and mirrors if you're an adult who's had to adult. You have done smoke and mirrors, and you've got this shadow self, which is maybe what's creeped out now. Is this this self, yourself, myself, everybody's self. This Monster is that shadow. The Magician has like these two readings. It's got this really inspired, creative, let's manifest vibe, and then the Monster has this. But the Magician has that vibe, let's manifest, but then there's also this shadow, this ulterior motives, this, am I just going to pull off a trick? Which is also pretty rad too, if I'm being honest. So it's the shadow self having to be dealt with and having to be tamed. And I think that's this trigger here of something in yourself that you're seeing that you're having to deal with. In order to manifest. Yes, this all seems to be like something in your shadow self that needs to be dealt with in order to manifest. Yes, all is connected. You have to change the narrative. You have to change the story, how you tell the story, how you talk about yourself, how you talk about your dreams, how you talk about something, how you talk about your past, has to be managed in a way that allows you. It's part of this Magician's movement forward. And their manifestation and being able to manifest. We've got the plan for manifestation. We've got the tools for manifestation, but there's some inner demon that needs to be dealt with and I want to say loved. Like there's this story of the Chenu, which is sort of the northeast Sasquatch from the eastern U.S. And there's a story about, taking the Chenu. This little girl befriends him, takes him into the sweat lodge. He stays there for like a week and then comes out as a frail old man that's lovable with a lot of wisdom. And so there's this transformation of the monster through self-reflection, through cleansing and renewal and all of that. That takes like a week retreat or something of the Chenu in the sweat lodge. And then after all of that renewal, the Chenu is renewed and learns how to, it's not quite so scary, right? It's not quite so, it learns how to put its arms down. It learns how to be more approachable. It learns how to be, to not scare everybody off or push away what it is, what it wants. In the story, the Chenu is wanting love. And so here you're learning how to not like push that away or do things that scare people off or do things that are off-putting or something, whatever like you've wanted and you've pushed away either through the way you talk about something or the way you perceive something or the way you do something, you're learning how to like cleanse that out and put the arms down and be a little less pushing it away and more allowing, right? Because once he emerges from the sweat lodge, instant lovability. I mean, I'm not saying you're not lovable now. I'm just saying there's like what he wants, he finally gets. So the scary, big monster in the wilderness chasing after people because he wants to talk to them, can't do, or whatever, can't get them because he's chasing. That came up recently. The chasing after something is actually pushing it away. And that's like a common manifestation idea. So we have the magician here. All right. Oh my goodness. We are belaboring the points here. Okay, your hopes, your fears, your inner landscape, messenger of earth, groundwork, laying groundwork for something. Like this inner work is the groundwork, something like that. That you're making a plan, perhaps, and in making that plan, you need to deal with some part of your shadow self, some aspect of yourself that you don't like, that you might feel shame over. I like this messenger of earth because he's digging through the dirt and really getting in there and preparing the soil, the groundwork for something. So maybe that's your hope, is preparing the soil, the groundwork, doing the background work for something, doing for a manifestation that you're interested in or wanting to do, making plans, figuring out how to do it. And really part of the making plans is doing some kind of work on yourself. So it's not just the lists and the plans there. It's also like, how are we talking about this? How are we thinking about this? How are we, that's part of making the practical plans too. Messenger of Earth is a pretty practical thing. So you're wanting to do the groundwork and make the practical plans. What's at issue? 5 of Earth. There are 3 5s here, which means I'm going to go check that out. Okay, 5 of Earth in reverse. So we had 5 of coins last week, actually. And I'm actually consulting the book from the thing of last week, from the deck I used last week. 3 5s can mean a dispute, confrontation, or disagreement is in the air. Yeah. So overall, for the reading, we have 3 5s in here, but we already got that because with this 5 of arrows, some kind of dispute that's already happened. And somebody maybe had ulterior motives through the dispute. You're having to sort of control yourself. You're wanting to lay some practical groundwork for the future, or wanting someone else to. 5 of Earth in reverse is someone coming out of poverty, not feeling as left out, feeling more included, feeling that it's not losses, it's gains. Whatever was lost in the past is being reborn and regained. So something is being regained here. Included, brought into the fold, repaired. because something this, and it sits on the other side of this 5 of arrows, this 5 of earth. The 5 of arrows are the things coming down very heavy in this argument and disagreement. These feathers are moving up because it's in reversal. They're moving up. They're going back to where they belong. They're being reset. It's almost like bowling pins that got knocked down. And then here comes a little machine to reset them all and put them back up for the next game, I guess, for the next cycle, for the next whatever. So these whatever came down very heavy is leaving very light, easy. In your environment, you have balance. Things are taking time to just work their ways out. So whether this is personal or professional or work related or family related, things are getting back into balance, but it does take time. Oh my gosh. A teeter-totter. People are learning how to balance together. It's a together pursuit where, you know, if you're balancing with someone, whatever someone else does over here, the other person's going to feel the wiggle over here and has to adjust. So there's adjustments. I think there's a learning curve as well. And we got balance too recently, 2 weeks ago, I think, but it was in the reverse. It was impatience. So there's a process here that requires patience. And there's two people that, or two entities or a situation that needs to be, it's got a delicate balance, and it's got, both people have to be, or both parties have to find balance within themselves in order to be able to be in a balanced relationship. So there's this balancing together, but each one has to be making adjustments all the time and has to be, and the communication and the flow between two entities, it takes time to learn this, you know, especially with somebody else. It's like maybe playing tennis in partners or something, and you have to like learn how your partner works and learn what they do. And if they always love to dive forward, then maybe you, and that's not something you love to do. If you both love to dive forward, well, good luck with hitting your heads together. But, you know, maybe one likes to dive forward, but the other one has a better like overview and kind of stays back here. This one likes to dive in and take risks. This one likes to assess a situation. So you have to like learn how the other person, and that takes time. That's not something where you, it's very rare, right? Where you could like jump onto a court with someone you've never met and then just play doubles really well. I can't play tennis at all, so I actually don't know what I'm talking about here. So it takes time. So something is taking time to work its way out, to get balanced out, to get maybe rebalanced after this argument that's in the air. And then we have 5 of flowers. This is your to-do list. This looks like an apology to me. Expressing regrets. Yeah, expressing regrets. I see the roses over here and mirror what's triggering you. We have the petals. So 5 of flowers is regretting something and then moving on too. It's got a sense of moving on from, yes, somebody messed up, or yes, this was messed up, or yes, this was difficult. And difficult things were said, difficult things were done, but turning towards repair, turning towards healing, turning towards something like that. And yeah, you were hurt, you're caring for yourself, but there's a way to look at this that's totally different. And it might be looking at it like this, trying to find balance and equilibrium either within a group or within a relationship of some kind. So there are regrets, but it is time to sort of focus on what's next, right? It's actually these 2 cards. Like, here's the past. It's kind of coming undone. It's time to frame it in a positive way so that we can receive new things coming in. It's very intuitive and internal. This is a very internal reading. And then we have High Priestess here. So that's where we end up after sort of this self-reflection, these regrets, these apologies. Perhaps you owe somebody an apology, or perhaps it's just time for you to focus on healing and repairs, right? And there's a sense too that this lesson will not soon be forgotten, because this is 5 of flowers. One of these flowers is tattooed. it is received a painful but beautiful memento of the situation. But then here, these are being offered, I think, as an attempt at repairs. There's an externalization of an internalized lesson. But it is, this weaving flowers to me talks about a lot of healing and bringing things together after they've fallen apart. And the Five of Flowers is a move from grief to healing. High Priestess, trust your intuition going forward. That's kind of vague, but maybe engage with your spiritual practice. Make sure this has a lot of potential to heal your spiritual practice too, or to heal you spiritually. I think also with the weaving of flowers, this intuition is coming in. She can't see what she's making, but she's doing it. She's making it. So then we have this High Priestess here of also someone very highly intuitive, creating something in the future, but using, maybe not even knowing what you're creating. No, not even knowing, but trusting your intuition with something. The healing process may even strengthen your intuition. And the major arcana here is the Magician, the Monster, and the High Priestess, and balance. So it's almost like you're balancing your shadow self with your higher self. It's not that the monster can go away. It's not that we can walk this earth without a shadow. It's that they need to be balanced. And here I see with the High Priestess, this intuition in the dark, this understanding without seeing, without evidence. This balancing out of the shadow. We are not eliminating the shadow. We are working with it. We are balancing ourselves out. So much balance here. The release, the receiving of new things, the balance here, the High Priestess, the balance between the High Priestess and the monster, in this Magician, balancing it out. And then even this twinning going on in this mirror here is really interesting too. There's just this intuitive scales of justice being righted, I feel like. All right, I've gone a lot longer than I thought I was going to go. So here we have Cow Spirit. The miracles are endless. Well, that's lovely to come in at the end of this. Appreciation and gratitude for everything you've received. The miracles are endless. Expect the unexpected. And an auspicious omen to close out the reading completely. Eagle feather. This powerful medicine is here to connect you both to both heaven and earth. Oh my gosh, if that isn't a balanced message. And also we have the feathers here. And the High Priestess connecting heaven to earth. The shadow self, the higher self. Wow, there's a sense of being made whole here with the Five of Feathers, and then the turning to, normally if you look at a spread, the major arcana tells a story, like trying to manifest something, something gets in the way, gets interrupted, needs to be tamed, finding there's an equilibrium being found, and then we end up in the High Priestess. Higher self, spirituality, and following your intuition. But I also think that we can read this with the fives. We have the Five of Arrows, the argument, the renewal, repair, made whole situation, and then the healing and moving on. So that also tells a story woven through here. Okay, so then this eagle feather with these feathers right here, Five of Earth, powerful medicine connecting you to both heaven and earth. And that sense of something, a dream, a wish coming into reality. And the dualistic nature of something, high and low. All right, well, I hope that that was helpful for you. Thank you so much for joining me. I love doing these readings for us, and I'll talk to you guys next week, hopefully.